Hi there, this is my channel, Jaru Walks. In the year 2024, I will embark on an epic walking journey across the United States. My plan is to walk 8,000 miles across the US 3 times, via the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. In the hiking world, this is known as a calendar year Triple Crown, and has only been completed by a handful of people in history. I plan to post weekly updates along the way, so you can join me for the journey. And just like that, we're in Vermont.
Hoffman, this is Discovery. Of it. Oh,
Your trail name's not established yet, but you kind of have one, and so it was gifo, right?
Yeah.
And so could you tell me the story behind gifo?
Sure.
I thought it was pretty funny.
20 years ago, because I'm
Yeah.
old now, I was working in a summer camp on the New York-Connecticut border, and we took the kids up to the Appalachian Trail. I was asking, what are these white blazes? How far do they go? Thinking down the street or something like that. And the guy I was working with, the American, was saying, no, they go all the way down to Georgia. I mean, it just kind of blew my mind. And so I ended up on the trail at the end of the summer camp, and it wasn't that kind of summer camp. It was quite, let's go on a bus tour of, to Mount Rushmore or whatever. And they were all like, what are you going to do if you run out of water? And I was like, guess I'll find out. And what are you going to do if you run out of food? I guess I'll find out. What if there's a bear? I guess I'll find out. And so that's where my droning gifo comes from. Guess I'll find out.
Yeah.
Because I don't care.
I love it.
I just went.
So I've been hiking along this afternoon, seeing this controlled burn area the last 10 minutes, 20 minutes on trail, smelling in that smoke smell. And it's pretty thick, and to me it smelled fresh. I just thought I would have heard something about a controlled burn or seen signs, but I didn't see anything. And so I kept hiking along, and then I realized, the active burn is actually going on. It's like I'm literally walking through an active burn area. Told you winter's back in the snow. Snow is actually continuing. It's not that bad, just kind of sliding around. Definitely slowing me down, but I don't know. It seems mostly melted, but in places, it is about 12 inches deep. Hopefully, if I go lower in elevation, which I haven't really looked at yet, I think I'm gonna go lower, I'll get out of the snow. Well, I keep hoping it'll go away, and it keeps coming back. Holy cow, I did not expect snow to come back this soon. I'm not even a third of the way through Vermont. I don't even know where I am in Vermont. I'm probably a quarter or a fifth of the way through it. Look at this. Ow. I mean, the only redeeming aspect of this snow is that it's been a little melted and frozen, so I'm able to walk across the top of it, but that could change at any moment. I'm seeing post holes in it going down 6 inches to maybe a foot. It's a lot slower and harder walking on snow. All right, I'm filming a quick video to show you how dangerous this snow can be. You can't see how deep that goes. That goes down 1.5 feet. The snow goes down about 1 foot, and then to the left, there's a rock in there. Let me zoom in, maybe you can see. I don't know. And it goes down even further, so it's about a 2-foot drop. Let me just show you. Hold on. All right, that's my foot on the ground. Now watch how far down this goes. Down to the knee. And so when I stepped from there, all my weight went right down there. And then what happened is my foot hit this rock, and then it slid like that. Oh. So you can see how easy it is to twist your knee or even break some part of your foot when you fall through these little hidden mine shafts in the snow. I am simultaneously in fear and so happy. I just ran into a group of these 6, 7 dads and sons, high school age, who have hiked 45 miles of the AT coming my direction and they still have something like 30 miles to go. And so it reminds me of when I hit the Smokies and I met these southbounders, and they informed me of the snow conditions going ahead, and I informed them of the snow conditions going the other direction. And basically what they just told me is, buckle up because it's about to get bad. Holy cow. They were saying that Mount Bromley and Mount Stratton have something like waist deep snow. And I guess they hit Bromley first coming south. And after Bromley, they like tapped out. Because Stratton apparently is every bit as bad. They were saying the same thing, 30, that I was observing. Above 3,300 feet, the snow comes. And that the north face is worse. And I just saw that coming down the backside. The snow is really pretty bad. So, man, I'm thankful for that intel. That is so valuable. Even though there's no way for me to really get an accurate read on like what it looks like going ahead. Because there's nobody ahead of me. Other than the random long section hikers. And I just ran into some. I'm so thankful for them. Because now I have... It's funny, I don't have a map of where snow is, but I have basically the logic for how to know where snow is, which is basically, if I distilled our conversation to 2 points, above 3,300 feet, there's snow anywhere on any one of these mountains. And number 2, the north-facing slope is where it's going to retain most of the snow. So basically, if I look ahead on the elevation profile map, I'm expecting now every mountain forward at 3,300 feet or greater to have snow from 3,300 feet and up, particularly on the north-facing slopes. And I'll have to look ahead, but there's a lot of them. So, okay. I am maybe not going to be just cruising through Vermont. We'll see. But thank you so much to those guys. Thank you. That's why I was saying it's like simultaneously like scary news and yet I'm so thankful. Like I all day today, I've just been walking up and over these mountains, feeling kind of blind. I'm just like, God, I didn't even know snow was going to be here. I didn't know. And then once I hit the snow, I'm like, okay, surely it'll get better. And then it kind of didn't. It got a little better below 3,300, which is where I'm going now. And I was just thinking ahead, like, okay, well, when I come down this slope today, let's note when the snow disappears, what elevation are you at? Because that'll give me some kind of insight on the next peak, where to expect it when I'm coming up or going down it on the north side. And so, anyway, I'm just so grateful that I got that information. Because now I feel like instead of like wandering in the dark without a headlamp, you know, with this snow, which is how it literally felt, I now have a line of sight on like, it's going to be harder. So like the amount of food that I packed isn't going to be enough for me to make it as far as I was hoping to stretch to make it to. So I'm probably going to have to not bail, but like hop out maybe at a hostel tonight. There's a hostel in 11 miles where I can re-up on food, re-up on my charge, kind of resupply everything, and then I'll be good to keep pushing forward the next day. But wow, exciting. Let this tree be a lesson to us all. God, it's Roxylvania. Oh wait, no, it's just Vermont. So it's like I don't know, like 1:35 or 1:40 a.m. I was asleep, and then I had a dream about a bear in like some woods mauling somebody, and I'm like, oh wow, crap. And I don't know what I did, but I like went some other direction. And then I startled the bear, and I saw that there were cubs, and it was nighttime. I was like, oh crap. So I just backed away, but then the bear charged me and attacked me. And then I woke up from the dream, and normally when you wake up from a dream, you go, oh man, thank God that was just a dream. But I woke up for the dream, and I opened my eyes, and I'm in the middle of the woods in Vermont on a mountain at 3,000 feet of elevation in the snow, where there are a lot of bears. And so when I woke up, I don't even think it was, to be clear, it wasn't like the punchline in the dream. When I woke up, it was after that dream had resolved itself, maybe like 20 minutes later. And I woke up just 100% alert. And I just had this sense of danger, or at least like I've woken up on this trail in the middle of the night, maybe 300 times, like on average 3 or 4, I would say on average 3 to 6 times per night. And if I've been out here for, I don't know how many days, but we'll call it 90 days. So that would be, yeah, right in the range of like 500 to 600 wake ups since I've been out here. I've never woken up with a sense of like some kind of imminent danger or something. Just like woken up and alert. Actually, that's not true. There was one time where there was an owl, and I woke up and I heard noises, but I heard noises. You know what I mean? It was obvious that there was something outside of the shelter. So anyway, tonight I woke up and I was just immediately alert. And I've learned to trust my senses out here. And I was kind of like trying to convince myself to go back to bed. I was like, it's that your feet are cold, so I put a jacket over my feet. Let me be clear. As this is happening, there was no tarp above me. And I'm thinking like, I'm sensing that my body is alert about bears, basically, right? And I'm like, well, maybe that's the dream. And then I hear the wind start ripping over me, and I'm like, ooh, that's typically indicative of rain. And I look up. So when I went to bed, the reason I didn't put the tarp up was because the skies are totally clear and there's no forecast of rain. And I look up and the whole sky is blotted out by clouds. And I was like, oh, you know. And so then I just continue to sit there. And then at like maybe a minute later, just I feel like a little droplet hit me on my cheek. And then I think, man, I don't want to get up out of my sleeping bag right now, but I think I have to. So I got up, and at that time I actually still had wet socks on. So I changed out of those socks. Well, I put the tarp up, then I changed out of the wet socks into the dry socks, which feels so much better. Oh my God, it feels so much better. And as I was setting the tarp up, it started to rain. And so, yeah, it just, to me, it felt like they talk about animals having instincts, right? Like there was something about that was instinctive. When I woke up, it was with a totally clear mind, no grogginess, and a sense of there's some sort of danger around you. Don't go back to bed. And so I just sat there awake for 10 to 15 minutes trying to figure out what it was that was going on. And then I realized, oh, I think it's the rain. I think there's rain coming. And so I start setting the tarp up, and then sure enough, rain comes. I don't know. It could have been something as simple as I'm asleep and a raindrop hit me on the cheek, or the sound of the wind, or something else. I don't know what triggered it, but it woke me up, and it was the most interesting thing because I'm telling you, there was an instinctive sense. There's something to be alert about. Don't go back to bed. And then boom. And that hasn't hit me, like I said before. I have not had that experience before. I've woken up to the sounds of danger, and had the same feeling, but it was obvious in that moment. I can hear animal footsteps or some kind of sound around me. It's obviously an animal stepping on leaves or something, but I've never woken up before to the sound of nothing, but still having that sense of danger. It could have something to do with the bear dream as well, but what are the odds of that being the bear dream versus the rain, considering that it started tinkling and sprinkling and then actually briefly raining within 5 to 15 minutes of me standing up to set my tarp up. And you can actually hear it, maybe barely. And the reason I stood up to set my tarp up was I was so miserable because it's cold outside right now. I mean, it's miserable to psych yourself up to get out of your sleeping bag, especially when your socks are wet and your shoes are wet. But I realized it's like when coyotes would surround me in Arizona a couple of times. Like, once they do it once, you just don't sleep again the rest of the night. And my sense was, if I don't set my tarp up right now, I'm not going to sleep at all the rest of tonight. And so I got up and I set my tarp up just to put my mind at ease. And then boom, it started raining. Yeah, and killer trees too. Alrighty, I got shuttled into, I've already forgotten the name of the town, but it'll come back. Somewhere in Vermont. Rolling through this town in Vermont. Seems to be home away from home for New Yorkers. We got the Smuggler's Notch Distillery. I'm sure Sparrow would love to stop by there, but I'm sure he's in too much of a hurry. We've got a Ralph Lauren. Further up here, we've got an Armani. So obviously I made sure to stop through here to resupply on pizza and clothing, get decked out, and the world's finest. Even the McDonald's here are window dressed like a country club. Out to Wayne, amazing shuttle driver. And I'm about to go up Bromley now, and that's the mountain that those long section hikers warned me about maybe having waist deep snow. You can see I'm just below the cloud level. At 3,000 elevation. This is matching up with the other, was it Glastonbury Peak? Snow starting around 3,000. And then the solid snow maybe around 3,300. So we'll see how this goes. All right, as I said, the north side is worse. We've got at least a couple of feet of snow. And it's windy and chilly. Ooh. So I'm talking about how you sink through. Just caught that one. I mean, that was a 2-foot drop. Okay, I'm working my way over Bromley. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can feel it or not, but this is where it's starting to get sketchy. My phone actually got full on memory, so I didn't record it as I went over the peak back there, but the drifts got 3 feet high. Like, not like I'm wading through it, but just the drifts were 3 feet high. And I can hear an anger in the winds that's different from everything before, other than on the Smokies, and flashbacks to Katahdin, but it's not as bad as Katahdin, and I know that it's not as bad as Katahdin. A, because I went there, and B, I've done a lot of research on this stretch of the trail. I'm glad that it's getting a little bit scary in Vermont, because New Hampshire is more serious, and I'm just kind of transitioning into a different mindset at this point. It's important to be extremely careful as I proceed ahead, monitor the weather, because the world is rapidly changing right now on this trail. I can feel it. Saw a moose, a big moose, right back there somewhere. Okay, and then I just saw a bear go sprinting right up that hill just now, clear as day. I'm not sure if what I saw before was a bear or a moose. I was thinking that after I recorded that. I just saw a big flash of brown fur before. I just saw it clear as day right there. Let's see, let me zoom out. You can see that hill right there, back on the hill. It went running right up the hill, sprinting. Which is just a little annoying because the trail goes right up that hill. It's like I'm cornering it up on top of the mountain. On the peak where the bear ran to, the sun's setting and it's starting to get dark. It's right back there somewhere, or at least that's where it ran to. So, I was gonna say this peak has bad energy. It doesn't actually have bad energy, but it does have strong energy, which sounds very woo-woo, but I'm telling you that it's true, or at least it's a way of phrasing something that doesn't quite have words that I'm aware of, that nonetheless are factually descriptive of what's going on up here. People get upset when you use the term bad energy or something. It's like, we could have a conversation about what the word bad energy means and find a way to restate it in terms of more everyday words. A lot of debates, arguments that people get into are a result of a disagreement about what a given word means, and also result from one person not understanding actually what the other person's saying. I think in conversations I've had in the past, something I'll do that really upsets people is ask them to restate what I'm saying, because there shouldn't be any debate about what I'm saying if you think about it. Like, we could debate about what I should say, but there shouldn't be a debate about what I am saying. And almost all arguments between people occur where you're talking at different levels, where one person's hearing something different from what you're saying, and frequently, if you don't watch yourself, you're not hearing what they're saying. So I always try to be careful when I'm in a disagreement with someone, I just call it a conversation, to show them the respect of listening so carefully that I could satisfactorily restate their argument back to them and have them be like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I get a little annoyed with YouTube comments, to be honest, because the critique I'm receiving is a situation where that person, I can see from what they've written, could not restate, or at least are not restating or making arguments that stem from a misunderstanding of what it is that I said. So, me using the term bad energy kicked off those thoughts in my head as I'm walking through this dark forest at sunset with the bears. If I run into an altercation with a bear, I'm going to make sure to listen carefully to what he says so that there's no misunderstanding here. Hopefully you guys show me the same respect. I just got to get over this peak and past it, and then I'll be back down into places with lighter energy, and then I can keep cruising for the night. It's definitely wild up here, but that's what I've been craving this whole hike. That's what's been missing, so here I am. And Vermont is just a gentle introduction to what's coming my way, I suspect. Wish there were white places. It's so hard to follow this trail. I don't see any back that way, and I don't see any ahead, but this is where the footprints go. So I think this is the trail, but I don't want to go down there and find out I'm wrong because that's so steep. I officially wish I had micro spikes. It's so steep and icy. But I had them milled ahead exactly 1.5 days hike ahead. So my timing was pretty damn good, I'll say. But it would have been nice to have them now. This track, someone slid all the way down that. I'm telling you, this is treacherous. All right, take this careful. And I really hate that there's not a white blaze. Back on blaze. Yes, that is moose poop. Spotting the white blazes is like an Easter egg hunt. Do you see a trail? I guess those are footprints. Okay, so if it's this, then it's up that. Alright, we're gonna assume that's the direction. On track. If anybody's wondering like why my feet aren't cold, it goes back to what I was saying when I did that video from the hostel in Port Jervis, New York, where I'm talking about how your body heat flows throughout your extremities to your hands and to your feet. So I'm hiking at a really fast pace. I mean a relatively fast pace, maybe like 2.5 miles per hour. And I've been doing that for 15 miles without stopping once, while going up and down hills the whole way. And I'm wearing a jacket. And it's obviously really cold outside. But my body, my torso, is heating up. And as it overheats, it runs blood down to the feet and to the hands to keep them warm. I'm wearing my little finger gloves right now. But I really wouldn't need to because my hands are also just warm. Because there's so much heat being generated by my body that there's good warm blood flow going to both my feet and to my hands. And part of that is that I'm wearing my black puffy right now. And that it's cold enough outside that I can hike in the black puffy without overheating. On a few occasions when I'm going up really steep hills, I'm taking the puffy off. So like earlier back there when I was just zigzagging up and down in the snow, up and down those steep inclines like earlier in the evening, I wasn't even wearing a jacket because I started to sense those tingles of sweat coming, and I monitor that extremely closely. And so as soon as that suggestion starts, or that feeling of starting to overheat commences, I whip the jacket off. I don't ever let it get to that point, because once you sweat, well, you're definitely going to take the jacket off, but the problem is now you're wearing your shirt, and as the wind blows against you, you freeze. And so you're basically screwed once your shirt gets wet. So by monitoring very carefully, and I would say understanding how your body works, not by like reading a book about it, but by hiking a bunch and literally seeing your body perform that way, you get in tune with it and you're able to hike in layers. And so I think everyone's heard about how important it is to hike with layers and to, you know, add a layer, shed a layer as you need it. And that sounds like I don't know, just something someone said one day and now a bunch of people repeat it. But that is straight up true and straight up gospel for long distance hiking in cold weather, because that's how you combat the cold. And so I'm able to straight up walk through, you know, water that's frozen on top, and the temperatures that are in town, they're saying that it's 24 degrees Fahrenheit in town. I don't know what it is up on these mountains, but I would guess you could probably subtract at least 5 degrees Fahrenheit from that. So we call it 19 Fahrenheit. That seems a little low, but it's definitely well below freezing. I would say at least 25 Fahrenheit. To hike in those sorts of temperatures with completely soaked feet. And trust me, I could wring my socks out right now and you'd see water drip, you know, to the floor. That's how wet they are. But despite that, I'm warm. Last shot for the night, but just to emphasize how cold it was tonight. My shoelaces are frozen solid. I'm trying to squeeze in them.